chick named Anna. Anna like that marijuana. Anna was from the Bahamas. At least that's what she said. I assume she's honest. I apologize, Your Honor. I just wanted me some money. You can't tell these niggas frontin'. You can't tell these niggas nothing. 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 All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling bitches. This is for my hustling bitches. Nigga, don't act so suspicious. Hustle hot as hell, but you swear they snitching. You don't wanna go to prison. You don't wanna go to prison. You don't wanna come up missing. You don't wanna come up missing. I just want a couple bitches. Put them in the ring, make a split decision. I'm trying to slow down with the sinning. I pray to God, no, he'll forgive me. Me and God had a discussion. He said, tell him. I said, you can't tell these niggas nothing. 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 All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. Okay, there we go. We got to turn the audio on. What's good? What's good? What's good with everybody? Make sure I got everything going. Check the audio. Make sure it's actually working. This is what happens when you run it by yourself. All right, give me a second. Give me a second. Yeah, we up. We up. We up and running. All right, y'all. So, what's good, man? Who we got in here, man? Hit that like button for me. Just want to tap in, man. Talk about some Errol Spence versus Yordenis Ugas news, man. Last time we talked, we was talking about is who's Spence gonna fight when he comes back. 60-40 talk. Did Terence Crawford miss an opportunity? A lot of questions were raised in the last live, and I think a lot of we got a few answers to the questions, because there was the whole tournament with the WBA going on. I don't know what's going on with that now, but apparently now they're going to allow Yordenis Ugas to go ahead and fight Errol Spence JR next, which is huge. I think that's the fight that needs to be made. I think Ugas deserves his just due, his flowers for defeating Manny Pacquiao in the fashion that he did. And I think this is the right fight at the right time. Now,
my thing is now, I feel like the biggest loser, and I've been saying this for a while, is going to end up being Terence Crawford because Terence Crawford missed a golden opportunity by not fighting Ugas, by not pushing for a Ugas fight and choosing to go fight Sean Porter instead. You know, I would have never took that Porter fight, but maybe contractually wise, that was the best thing for him. But me personally, I wouldn't have took that Porter fight. I would have pushed for that Ugas fight. Don't bring me nobody but Spence or Ugas, and that's the direction I would have went in. But he opted for the Sean Porter fight, and I think that Porter fight is going to come back to bite him in the butt because Errol Spence is now has the opportunity to end up with that extra belt if he beats Ugas, and it's a shorter timeline than what I thought it would be. You know, I thought Ugas was going to have to go through that tournament, you know, have to have a couple of fights, and then have to fight, you know, maybe then he'd get to fight Spence. And that wouldn't have happened until, you know, sometime in the summer of 2022. But now it's looking like we're going to go ahead and get the Spence Ugas fight. What does Terence Crawford do at this point? Because in all actuality, if Spence gets that other belt, he now can ask for a bigger piece of the purse, which sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but that's why I say that's why I'm saying that Terence Crawford is going to be the biggest loser because he was wanting a bigger piece of the purse with only one belt, and now you know Spence is going to could potentially have an extra belt, and could potentially ask for more money out of that fight, you know, and I think that would be fair if he beats Ugas. He would definitely deserve at least 5% more of the purse at that point. So you're now talking about a 65-35 split for Terence Crawford. So at the end of the day, if Spence beats Ugas, the biggest loser in that fight is not going to be Yordenis Ugas. It's going to actually be Terence Crawford because Ugas can ask for a rematch. So that pushes Spence Crawford all the way out until 2023. You probably won't get a Spence Crawford fight until 2023, which is crazy to think about. And my timeline, even with the WBA tournament, was ending in 2023. But now it's looking like, hey, it might actually be 2023 before you get Spence and Crawford in the same ring fighting each other. And that's not being unrealistic. That's being very realistic. Let's just say, you know, the fight goes the way we think it's going to go. Errol Spence beats Yordenis Ugas, gets the other belt. Ugas says, hey, you know, I gave you a shot. I want my rematch. That rematch will probably end up happening sometime late 2022, early 2023, which pushes Errol Spence, Terence Crawford out to the summertime of 2023. So you're talking about almost a year, maybe a year and a half before these guys actually get in the ring together. That this would all depend on whether Ugas gives Errol Spence a good fight, whether Ugas feels like, I mean, whether Spence feels like, well, I want to rematch this guy, or, you know what, let me go ahead and fight Terence Crawford instead of rematching Ugas. Because if Ugas gives him a good fight, I doubt Spence will want to rematch him. I doubt Spence is going to say, hey, let me get back in the ring with this guy and give him another opportunity to maybe take out my belts. I think what you'll see then is Spence go directly after Terence Crawford. If Ugas gives him a good fight. Now, that's my personal opinion. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I see it kind of playing out in that fashion. And we all know how Spence is, you know, with waiting things out. He's a meticulous fighter. He would rather wait this situation out with Terence Crawford than to rush it because he's already making good money fighting nobodies and he doesn't have to rush it. You know, there's no need for him to rush the Crawford fight. He's already kicked back. He makes the most money out of those two guys. He gets the most pay-per-views out of those two guys. So there's no rush for Errol Spence Jr. I know people really like Crawford. You know, he's a likable guy. But in all actuality, it's Spence's world, and if if Terence Crawford, I think if Terence Crawford really wants to make this fight, he's going to have to come down on his price. He's going to have to just accept whatever Spence gives him, basically. And I know a lot. It's hard for a lot of people to accept, like how Crawford stay. But what's your argument if Spence when Spence gets that other belt? Because I don't see too much stopping Errol Spence Jr. from getting that. I think it's going to be a fight that plays out in his favor. It's going to be in a venue of his choosing. You know, he's going to choose the ref. It's going to be a lot of things that are going to be in his favor. So it's going to be a real uphill battle for Yordenis Ugas to win that fight. At the end of the day, I think Errol Spence ends up with that other belt. And what's your negotiating tactic when Spence comes in the room and says, well, hey, I want this, and I want this. And Terence Crawford goes, well, I want 50-50. I would love to hear somebody's argument. Somebody hop in the chat for me, man. You know, somebody drop me a comment. Let me know what y'all think so far. Got a few people in here so far. Hit that like button for me so we can get a few more people in the chat, man. But you know, what's Terence Crawford's argument once? Because I feel like Ugas can give Spence a good fight, but I don't see how Ugas walks out of that stadium with that title. They're gonna give Ugas a lot of money not to win that fight. Put it that way, if you ask me. And I think Ugas possesses the skill to beat Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, but I don't know if it's in his best interest. You know, to win that fight, financially, I think he's gonna stand to gain a lot by not winning that fight. He's gonna stand to gain more by not winning that fight than he would by winning that fight. Personally, that's how I feel. But I think Ugas is gonna give him a good fight. I think he might actually because at the end of the day, if he loses to Errol Spence, I think he will go after his rematch. I think he definitely will go after his rematch because he's going to make a lot of money off of it. He's going to make a lot of money off of it. And I think if he gets a rematch, he retires after the rematch if he doesn't win. I don't see him because it at the end of the day, after Spence and Crawford, I mean, who are we hanging our hat on as the next big thing? Because the welterweight division is going to suffer after these two guys because they're actually fight and they get, you know, that fight is over with. Somebody's moving up in weight. And both of these guys might move up in weight. So the 147 division is going to suffer after these two guys actually get it on. I think this is why they're kind of dragging this whole thing out as long as they can until some more fighters step up at 147 pounds and become superstars because the 147 division is going to suffer. I mean, we've already lost all the superstars at 147. Pacquiao's gone. Mayweather's gone. Who else? Who else was there? You know, we haven't seen Keith Thurman. Broner was a dud. Porter's now retired. Danny Garcia hasn't. You know, he never hit his full potential at 147. Mikey Garcia is an unknown. You know, so who's the next guy at 147 pounds? You could say Josh Taylor could jump up to 147 and make a name for himself, you know, which is possible. I would like to see what, because I haven't seen him fight yet, but I would like to see if he's willing to make the jump to 147. I'm trying to think who else. Captain Full G, he's real high on boot. I think his name is Boots Ennis, so he's real high on Boots. So I'm gonna have to start watching Boots. And then there's the other guy, Caps and Fuji really likes. I don't know if Caps is watching right now, but if Caps is in here, leave me a comment, Caps. Let me know who you think is going to be the next 147. Because I feel like after those two guys are gone, it can really it can really end up really good for Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, I think, still has skills. He's taken 2 or 3 years off. Uh, and he could lay in the background, let those two guys fight it out. One of them, eventually they both gonna move up in weight, and he could step in and fill the void at 147 pounds. But I think Josh is a golden opportunity for Josh Taylor. He might have to campaign in 140 for another year and let those guys work out whatever they're gonna do, fight each other. Whoever wins probably will immediately move up in weight, and Josh Taylor can come in and fight the loser, and try to make his name at 147 pounds. Or Josh Taylor might come in and fight Keith Thurman, or Keith Thurman might fight the loser. So, but I really think 140, the 130 to 140 pound weight division, uh, I think that division is going to really start to make a boom over the next 5 years, and the middleweight division is going to start making a boom, and the 147 division is going to kind of suffer. 147 has been the golden goose of boxing for like the last 10 or 15 years, and all the superstars are now leaving. They're retiring. They're moving on in weight, and who's going to carry the torch after this? Who's going to be the guy? It, I don't see. And what's crazy is whoever wins that fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, they're not staying at 147 pounds, which is what's crazy. They're going to end up moving up. The winner's going to move up in weight and probably end up at 154 pounds and be campaigning there. So it's going to be crazy to see who's the next, who's going to be the next guy. And I'm kind of hanging my hat on Josh Taylor at this moment. I think Josh Taylor is probably the most likely name to come step in and fill that void once both of those guys do move on. And I do see both of them moving out of 147. Anybody want to call in? Anybody want to hit the call in line? Somebody drop me a comment, man. We got like 4 or 5 people in here. Drop me a comment. Let me know what y'all think. Because personally, I think both of those guys have outgrown 147 pounds. They don't really even belong. All the big money fights are past 147 now. They're all at 154. They're all, the Canelo fights, the Gennady Golovkin, fights, the Charlo brother fights. They're all at 154 and beyond, so I definitely don't see both of those guys sticking around 147 too much longer. Uh, but I think the loser might stick around for another year. So whoever loses that fight, like I said, that guy might stick around, fight Josh Taylor, and then move on, or stick around, fight Josh Taylor, and then if he loses to Taylor, retire. I actually think the first to retire out of those two guys is going to be Terence Crawford. Because I don't see Crawford moving to 154 and having success. I see him moving to 154 and kind of being a gatekeeper kind of guy at 154. But now, if he does beat Errol Spence and then beats him again, I think Spence moves up in weight and Terence Crawford stays at 147 pounds. Fights Josh Taylor, and if he beats Taylor, he would probably retire as the unified champion. Most likely, I think that would be the best case scenario for Crawford, for him to get that Spence fight, for him to beat Spence, rematch Spence, beat Spence again, and then fight Josh Taylor, and then retire if he beats Taylor. Bency Vac Tech. I don't even know what that means. Vark Tech. What's that? Was that like Russian? But definitely, I don't see Errol Spence. If Errol Spence beats Crawford, I think he immediately tries to move to 147. I mean 154, and then I think because if he beats him, I don't think he's gonna try to entertain a rematch with Crawford. I think he's gonna kind of Mayweather Crawford, like do what Mayweather did to Pacquiao to Crawford. If he beats Crawford, I seriously, and I think that's why Crawford is trying to get as much money out of that first fight as he possibly can, because he knows Errol Spence is not going to rematch him if he beats him. He knows Errol Spence is going to shoot straight up to 154 and probably fight one of the Charlos and then try to go after Canelo Alvarez. I don't see Spence giving Crawford a rematch. And at the end of the day, that that would imply that Terence Crawford is, in fact, the biggest loser. He's going to end up the biggest loser in all of this, man. He's going to end up the guy to miss out on a lot of stuff. And we could have gotten this fight a long time ago. We definitely could have gotten this fight a long time ago. And Crawford could have got a lot of money. And if he's as good as he says he is, could have beaten Spence by now, man, and gotten all this over with. But since he wanted to drag it out, or maybe it wasn't just him, maybe it was some Bob Earl, dragging the process out as well. But now that he's free, he could have said, hey, Spence, I want that 60-40. Let's just make the fight. But once again, he's letting somebody else pick it. And not only that, he didn't even try to go after Ugas. People are saying the WBA shut it down, but he didn't have to fight Sean Porter. He could have still went after Ugas. But he went after Porter, I think, to get out of his contract with Earl instead of Ugas, which makes really no sense because you would have think at least he would have got a title belt out of the Ugas fight. He would have got more negotiating power out of the Ugas fight. And at the end of the day, that Ugas fight was real important for him in the negotiating room. But it is what it is at this point now. I think Spence, everything played out perfectly for Spence. He didn't have to fight Pacquiao. He didn't have to get embarrassed by Pacquiao. He got extra time off to repair whatever injuries he had. He didn't have to fight Crawford. He didn't lose a title belt. Not only that, he's about to get another belt served to him basically on a platter. And Terence Crawford didn't give him no resistance at all. And, it's almost like Terence Crawford really doesn't care. He says he don't care about Spence, but at the end of the day, you got to care about him, or he would have just moved up to 154 already. Like, he don't have to keep campaigning at 147. He could just move up to 154 and say, F Spence. You know what I'm saying? So, it's not that he doesn't care about Spence. I think he just realizes that he has no negotiating power. And all he can do is accept what Spence offers him, but then that makes him look like he weak to his fan base. But at the end of the day, he's gonna look real goofy after this Yordenis Ugas Errol Spence fight. If Spence gets that belt from Ugas, it's gonna get real. The whole negotiation is about to collapse. There ain't gonna be no Terence Crawford Errol Spence fight. That's not, if you ask me, because as soon as Spence gets that belt, he's gonna come out and say, well, I want 65-35. That's gonna be the first thing you hear from Errol Spence. If Terence Crawford wants to fight, I want 65-35. I offered you 60-40. I had less belts at the time, and now I got all the negotiating power. There are no more fights for you to take that mean anything. You either got to fight me or move on. And if you move on, guess what? That means you vacated that title, that WBO title that Terence Crawford holds so dearly. And they're going to make a tournament, and it's going to be somebody versus Spence. And he's going to end up with that belt anyway. At the end of the day, he's going to end up the unified 147-pound champion anyway. So I keep telling y'all, he's playing a very strategic game of chess with Terence Crawford, and Terence Crawford keeps shooting himself in the foot by not just go ahead and going after the title and not the money. He keeps trying to go after the money instead of the titles. No, you need those titles to get to the money. Spence has the titles, which is why he can command his dollar amount. And he's about to get the other title that you should have went after of, but you went after an easy Sean Porter fight instead. And at the end of the day, Terence Crawford is going to have all the egg on his face. And I know people think that, well, Terence Crawford can do what he wants to do. Well, if Terence Crawford can do what he wants to do, he should just say, F Spence, F this one little title, I can go get more money at 154 pounds and just move up and weight. Go sign with Eddie Hearn and move up and weight. That would be in his best interest. That would be in Terence Crawford's best interest at this point. Forget about 147 pounds. Just let Spence have it. What he would do at that point is take all his negotiating power off the table, and it would leave Spence to just go fight Ugas. He's not going to get a lot of money off the Ugas fight, and all the money he would have made off the Crawford fight is no longer there. So what Spence would have to do at that point is he would have to vacate all those titles, leave 147, and go to 154 and try to make that fight at 154. So it is what it is. The first person, it would be in Terence Crawford's best interest to do that, because if he can go to 154 and beat a Charlo and get a title, then it flip flops everything, because Spence has no titles at 154. So now he's negotiating with Terence Crawford. It's no longer Crawford negotiating with Spence. It's Spence negotiating with Crawford at that point. So, hey, I didn't get a lot of views for this one, but I'm going to try to come back and go live every day, man, until I get the channel back popping, because I had it cracking at one point, man. I had people, really messing with the channel. So, to get back to that, I got to be a lot more consistent. If don't nobody want to call in, man, voice their opinion at this point, I think I'm going to leave it there. If you want to rewatch this or you missed the stream or whatever, you can always just go back. It'll be in the archives. I give a few minutes, let y'all listen to some music, see if anybody else jumps in here into the chat or into the conversation. If not, it's your boy Cardinal Red. That's the convo for the day. Check back with me tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll probably do this around 7 or 8 every day for at least an hour or 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how many people come into the chat. Just remember, for the few people who did come through today, I definitely will. I'm going to start trying to be more consistent with it every day. And I want people to actually call in, man, and voice their opinion. If you don't want to give your real phone number out, you can, I'm going to tell you what it's called. It's called Google Voice. You can go get a free Google Voice number. It's free. As long as you have a Google account, your Google Voice number is free. You get a free number. You can change it as many times as you want. And then you can call off of that number. You don't have to use your actual number. It's a Google Voice number. It's attached to your Google account. If you don't want to give me your real number, that's fine. Just go get a Google Voice number, call in from that number, or you can get a text now number, and you can call into that number. That the number I'm having you call is not my personal number. It does go to my personal phone, but it's not my personal number. So don't think just because you call that number, you're calling me personally. I'll answer it when it's necessary to answer that. Unless you're calling about some business, you can text it too. If you want to text it, a comment that you want me, to read, you can text that number as well. I can read your comment, as well. Or, like I said, you can call in and we can at least hear your voice. Because at this point, with the program I'm using, I can add guests, but I have to vet the guests I'm adding because I don't want people coming in here saying derogatory stuff or stuff that's going to get me dinged by the algorithm, or doing something inappropriate that's going to get me dinged by the algorithm and get the show shut down. So I would rather do people's voices until I can get a program to where I can actually control whether I can kick people out at certain times when they're actually on screen and they're doing stuff that goes against the algorithm. So up until I get my own, I know there's StreamYards and there's other programs out there I could be using, but they have limitations. I don't want to have a limit on what I'm using, when I'm using it. So I'd rather buy a program and be able to have full access to that program than to just have parts of it. So until I can get to that point, I'm stick with the voice and text messages. We got like 5 or 6 people in here right now. If anybody wants to call in, if anybody wants to text me a message, definitely, or you can shoot me a message in the chat. Do that now. We got 5 people in here, so anybody got an opinion on what they feel is Terence Crawford going to end up the biggest loser after the Yordenis Ugas Errol Spence fight? Is it going to end up in a situation where that fight's not going to happen because Spence is going to command an even higher dollar amount than what he's commanding at the moment? I'm telling y'all, he's offering Terence Crawford 60-40 with, what does he have? He has the IBF and the WBC title, and then he has a Ring Magazine title. So he has 3 belts now. He's offered him 60-40. The third belt he has, the Ring Magazine belt, it really don't mean nothing, but it's just a belt he holds. So he has 3 titles at the moment. If he gets that 4th one from Ugas, believe me when I say it, because that 4th title actually means something. That super title actually means something. The price is gonna go up for that fight at that point. It's gonna be a situation where he's gonna say, I want 65-35 at that point. Terence Crawford brings absolutely nothing to the table, except for the fact that he's a champion. He has a very small fan base. Like, people mess with Terence Crawford, but they don't buy his fights. Crawford has all these fans, but y'all don't purchase his fights. Yeah, but on the flip side, Errol Spence has a nice fan base, and they support Spence. Whether it's just Texas that's supporting him, but they buy his fights more than people buy Terence Crawford's fights. So, he has all the negotiating power. I know people feel like, well, he brings the title, he has his own fan base, he does do pay-per-view numbers. Well, they're not as good as what Spence is bringing to the table. So until he can bring more than Spence is bringing to the table, he's going to lose. And if Spence gets that title from Ugas, he's going to lose even more at that point. And y'all can believe me or not, I'm just a very small channel with a very small subscriber base. But I think I know a little bit about business and how business works. And I think I know a little bit about boxing and how boxers do what they do and how they think. And when you got a boxer like Errol Spence who knows that he's in control of this situation, you end up in a situation like Mayweather. He's learning from the best. He's learning from the best out there. Y'all forgetting that he's on PBC and Floyd Mayweather is heavily invested in PBC boxing. He is taking advice from Floyd Mayweather. This is not Errol Spence's plan. This is Floyd Mayweather's plan coming to fruition through Errol Spence. So I think people who are Crawford fans, you got to understand something. You're dealing with the negotiating power of a guy who basically effed Pacquiao out of millions of dollars when Pacquiao was actually the bigger superstar. So for people who feel like that Terence Crawford is the better fighter, well, there were millions of people who felt like Manny Pacquiao was a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather Jr. And Manny Pacquiao still got the smaller end of the Maypac fight. He got a very, very small portion of what he should have gotten for that fight. And this is the guy basically who you're negotiating with. You're negotiating with Floyd Mayweather, not Errol Spence Jr. So remember that. I think that's what people are forgetting. Remember that. This, you're dealing with not only Al Heyman, but you're dealing with Floyd Mayweather as well. And this is why people who like Gervonta Davis and want to see Gervonta Davis fight all these other great 130-pound, 140-pound fighters that are out there are not getting the fights that they want. It's because Mayweather is behind him. It's because Mayweather is the guy dictating a lot of this stuff. Mayweather's putting him in business positions to make money and not make fans happy. Hello? Hello? I hate when people do that. But Mayweather's putting him in position to make money and not make fans happy. I as much as I don't like Floyd Mayweather, I have to commend Floyd Mayweather for his business tactics and the way he makes money off the sport of boxing. At the end of the day, this is the business of boxing. Now it's no longer the sport of boxing; it's more of the business of boxing, and these fights are more business deals than they are just fights, And these guys are positioning themselves to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and fans want what fans want. We want good fights. We want the best fighting the best, but what's best for the fans isn't always what's best for the fighter. And as much as I hate that about the sport, until boxing gets some type of tournament style, some type of tournament style to deal with the championships. They need some type of tournament format to deal with the championships. It's going to be this way, so we just got as fans got to deal with it, And as a fan of Crawford, you got to understand one thing: this is about money. I don't care how good Terence Crawford is. This is about money. Errol Spence wants to make money off of that fight. It's the biggest fight at 147 pounds. He wants his money. Mayweather wants to get him money because if Mayweather gets him money, Mayweather gets some money off of that. Al Heyman everybody wants to make money off of this fight. So Terence Crawford, it needs to be more of a businessman when it comes to making this fight. What's in the best interest of me business wise? And stop stop trying to make it all about, well, I'm better than you. I feel like I'm better than you, so I deserve 50-50. Who cares what you deserve? It's about business at the end of the day. It's the business of boxing. And I hate to even have to say it like that, but it just is what it is at the end of the day. It's the business of boxing. Now, this is the biggest fight out there. You could have made it already at 60-40, could have proved your point, and then you could be dictating all this at this point because you would be the unified champion of the world. And you could be dictated, but it's not in the bargaining chips aren't in your hands. And at the end of the day now, it's really going to sting after Errol Spence gets this title belt. And I think the Ugas fight is going to be a good fight. I'm not saying Ugas is just going in there to get tapped on the chin and throw that belt away. But I do feel like Ugas is probably not going to walk out of that stadium with that title belt. And when he doesn't walk out of that stadium with that title belt, the same way that Terence Crawford, he talked high of himself in front of Spence after he knocked Porter out or whatever, you're gonna see Errol Spence say these words. I'm telling you, you want to fight me? I got all the belts. 65, 35, make it happen. And then you're going to see probably Terence Crawford walk away from the welterweight division and go to 147. I think I'm going to leave it there, man. If y'all ain't got nothing else to say, man, I'm going to give y'all a few minutes to drop a comment, listen to some music. If y'all don't say nothing, I'm out of here. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to get back on this thing. It's a new day, and we got to put the work in, man, to build. So I'm gonna start networking and trying to work, man. Put this work in. Caps and full. Okay, Caps is in here. Caps, what's good, bro? 50. Hey, Caps. Hey, man, call in real fast, Caps, man, if you can. I want to ask you a couple questions, man. If you can't call in, can you at least answer them in the chat? Big Caps in the building. The big homie, man. Y'all gotta go check out Caps and Full G, man. I want to say one thing about Caps, man. Caps is he's always supported me, man, and when he started rolling with his channel, I was really happy for Caps, man. I didn't want to at no point did I ever want to be like, well, I'm gonna go over there and just put a bunch of comments on his videos so I can capitalize off the work he's putting in. I just watched his videos and supported in silence, man, because I want his growth to be organic, man. It's all based off of what the work he put in, man. He's putting in real work, man. So y'all support uh uh Caps and Full G, man. Caps, unlike me, and I'll admit to this, I'm not real I, I'm not a real go out there and I used to be. When I first started doing this, I would go to other people's channels and challenge their narrative or whatever. Now I don't really do that as much, but Caps does go out and he makes the conversation not only on his channel but on other people's channel as well. So shouts out to Caps for doing that and standing strong for Pacquiao. When I couldn't even stand strong for Pacquiao because I was going through certain stuff, but Caps picked up the ball and ran with it, man, like a real one. Picked it up like a running back and ran straight through the wall with it, man. And he getting all the recognition he deserves for that. So salute to Caps, man. I get home later to chat, bro. Okay, you can always call me later. But what I wanted to ask you was, okay, what do you think, Caps? So at the end of the day, if Spence gets this belt from Ugas, does he have a case for 65-35 at that point? And does Terence Crawford have to accept those terms or just move to 154? Because I feel like it's going to end up bad for Terence Crawford if Spence gets that belt. It's going to end up real because he's already playing petty with Crawford. And like I said, this is all because he has Mayweather teaching him how to negotiate, basically, and how to get the bang for his buck. So I feel like if Spence gets that belt, you're going to hear 65-35. And we're probably not going to see a Spence Crawford fight at 147 pounds. It's probably going to happen at 154 pounds. Let me know what you think about that. Bako Hammond. Hey, bro, salute from France. Oh, wow, all the way over in France, bro. Appreciate that, man. All the way over in France. We reaching all the way around the world. And I'm trying to go around the world a couple of times, man. Circle the world, man. I ain't never been to these places, but I get to reach these places through y'all. Salute right back to Bako, man. Bako Hammond. Hammond. Hope I said that right. All right, that's okay. Caps answered the question. He says, Captain Full G says, 50-50. When you come back on, I will give you detail why. Okay, I guess I gotta leave it there, man. I can't hate that, Caps. I can't. If you busy, I can't hate that, man. I'll probably be on tomorrow. I'm gonna be on tomorrow around 7 or 8, Caps. So definitely need you to call in, man, and clarify. Bako says the fight needs to happen. Fight after Spence versus Ugas. Rodolfo Lopez. Yo, what's up, Rodolfo, man? What's good with you, bro? Appreciate you for stopping too. Stopping through, man. I ain't heard from you in a while. But I'm telling you, I think I'm gonna end it here. I'm telling y'all, man. This is gonna end. So okay, look at it like this. If Spence already has 3 belts, okay, 2 belts. One of them don't mean nothing. He has a third belt, it don't mean nothing. He has 2 belts. And he's already offering 60-40. Now he's gonna have 4 belts actually, but 3 belts that matter. I don't think he offers Terence Crawford 60-40 anymore. I definitely don't think he offers Terence Crawford 60-40 anymore. I think the price of a Spence fight will go through the roof, and you will actually probably see Spence fight a Charlo before he actually fights Terence Crawford, which is insane to say. But I think it's going to end up in that way. I just feel like it's going to play out in that way. Cap says, "Okay, cool. I look for you tomorrow. Got a lot of people around." Okay, no doubt, Cap. No doubt, man. This was sporadic, so I wasn't expecting a lot of people to come through, and I wasn't, I wasn't expecting you to be right, available right on the point. That's why I could have called you or texted you or something before, but it's real sporadic. You know how sporadic I am. Trying to get back on it, man. Be more consistent like I was, bro. Rodolfo says, pumped to see Ugas Spence go at it. Definitely, man. I feel like it's a good fight. And I feel like Spence is playing a very good game of chess here. And it's crazy because I thought Terence Crawford, and I'm not saying Crawford's not smart, but I thought he was more business savvy than this. I thought he understood the business aspects of this game that he's playing a little more, because my problem with Crawford is that he doesn't go after the fights he should be going after. If he could have gotten a Ugas fight, he should have demanded a Ugas. I'm not saying he should have gotten. He should have demanded a Ugas fight. Errol Spence was injured, couldn't fight Ugas. Ugas just beat who was considered the best uh, welterweight left of the last generation. That should have been a mega fight for Terence Crawford. But instead, he allowed, I feel like, Bob Earl to manipulate him. And I think he was trying to manipulate Bob Earl a little bit by just getting out of the contract as well and taking that Sean Porter fight. I don't know why he took that Porter fight. That was a silly business move. The best business move for him at that moment was to demand a Ugas fight. I need that belt. That is my negotiating power. He keeps trying to go after money and not titles. The titles are what matter. I know people think those titles don't matter. Those titles matter, man. Cap says, check my last video, bro. Al Heyman, bailed Ugas and Spence out. Ugas from tournament and Spence from mandatory. I mean, and I think it is crazy, and that's why I said it's almost like they're gonna pay Ugas a lot of money to drop that title. Now, I'm not saying Ugas doesn't possess the skills to beat Spence. I think he does, him and Crawford. He beat Manny Pacquiao. But I think in business wise, it's not in his best interest to win that fight. They're gonna give him a big old bag of money not to win that fight. Huge, and what Captain Full G said, it makes sense. Because I'm sitting there thinking, like, how do you just stop a tournament all of a sudden? How do you start a tournament? How do you demand the tournament and then you just stop the tournament and you take the champion out of the tournament? The whole reason for the tournament, we don't need this no more. Like, it don't even make sense. Nothing that's going on in boxing at this point makes any effing sense. The Pacquiao situation didn't make no sense. The way the Pacquiao fight happened. That's why I said from the beginning, y'all go back, it was a setup fight from the beginning. Now I told y'all this. And eventually, Spence is gonna end up with that title, and then it's. I said this stuff a long time ago. A long time ago, like this crap was all set up we were set up from the beginning, And I hate to say that, it's like boxing's almost like the WWF now, especially when the promotional companies control all the titles. When a promotional company controls, they got all the control. They can just set fights up the way they want them to go at that point. You just give a guy the amount of money he wants. What I mean, he don't. People don't care about the titles for one anymore. So why wouldn't a guy just say, "Hey, well, okay, give me $6 million, I won't win. I just won't win. I won't give my best effort. Not that he can't beat him. He just won't give his best effort." And I think boxing's like that a lot. I think boxing is just like that a lot nowadays. It's not in nobody's best interest to to give their best anymore. Or even everybody's going after the money. Everybody keeps going after them, and this is why I keep saying it. It has to be this way because Terence Crawford's not even going after the fucking titles. Like he keeps saying he wants to be he's the best, but he's not fighting champions. He never fights a champion. He just goes and gets a big bag of money, makes some excuse for why he didn't fight a champion, and then demands 50-50. Like none of this crap makes sense. And none of it makes sense anymore. And it should, to me, it just lets me know further. A lot of this crap is just set up. It's just everybody's doing what they got to do to get the most money out of these fights because nobody cares about the titles anymore. Nobody seems to care about those titles anymore. And the only people who care about the titles are the promotional companies because they want to control them. Because if they control all the titles, everybody has to come to you. That's why boxing needs a tournament. Boxing needs a tournament. It's in desperate need of a tournament style system for the titles. And that tournament should happen every year, like the NBA, like the NFL, like every other sport, because it would make the titles it would make the titles never sit with one promotional company. Everybody has to fight each other at that point. The best would have to fight the best at that point. The best play the best in the NBA, the best play the best in the NFL, the best play the best in baseball, hockey for the championship. The best don't gotta fight the best in boxing for a belt, which is crazy now. The best can go fight a garbage man and make the same amount of money as two champions. Like nobody wants to hold these belts but that can be a rant for another day, for tomorrow. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Cap says, "You're okay. Hold on. Okay, I missed one. Rodolfo says you're right, but he was with and I feel like was wanting too much money for those fights. Now that he's his own boss, we'll see how he moves now, and definitely, and that's why I say." It was in his best interest to take that 60-40 split. He would have made a decent amount of money off of that. Bob Earl would have got a decent amount of money off of that. He could have got out of his contract. Okay? That Spence fight could have been his last fight with Bob Earl, right? Could have paid Earl off, got a lot of money off of that Spence fight. And if you're that good, you would have beat Spence. Now you got a Spence rematch, and you're a free agent. And you get the higher portion of the part. It's almost like built-in stupidity. And I hate to call Terence Crawford stupid, but damn, you gotta be stupid because you didn't take it when it was there for you, when it was in your face, when you had the golden opportunity. Now, Spence is about to is about to get a title from Ugas, and he's going to negotiate 5% more out of you. Now, I will say on Terence Crawford's behalf, and this is why I don't want to call him stupid, a 65-35 split without a promoter is a hell of a lot of money. So he's still going to stand to make a hell of a lot of money at a 65-35 split. But you could have got 60-40, paid Bob Ermhoff, beat Spence, and then got 65-35 in your favor in the rematch as a free agent. Like it's and he's not an agent. He's not a promoter So I don't expect Terence Crawford to know to be thinking about all this stuff, you know. But as a businessman, he should be thinking about all this stuff because I'm telling you 100%, Floyd Mayweather is over shoving all this stuff in Errol Spence's ear. You know, y'all forgetting Floyd Mayweather's with Spence. He's not with Crawford. So Crawford's not getting all this Mayweather advice. As much as I hate Mayweather, but he's a hell of a boxing businessman. So I can't neglect the fact that Errol Spence is getting all the right boxing advice from the former most popular boxer, highest paid boxer ever in history. So y'all think it's just about Errol Spence Terence Crawford. It's not just about Errol Spence Terence Crawford. He has Mayweather over there with him. Mayweather's putting all this negotiating stuff in Spence's head. It's not coming from Errol Spence. It's 100% not coming from Errol Spence. I'm telling you, Errol Spence couldn't have put all this stuff together himself. He couldn't. There's no way he could have. And not saying he's not a smart person, but there's no way Errol Spence could have put a plan like this together at all. For it to have played out perfectly in this fashion, there's no way. Mayweather wants to promote Crawford. And that's even worse. That's even worse. I don't think it's in his best his best interest to sign with PBC. I think he's gonna get fed to the Lions if he signs. It would be his best interest to take that fight independently at 65-35. If he knows he can beat Spence, take that first fight 65-35 or 60-40, whatever he gets, beat Spence, then go sign with somebody. Then go sign with Eddie Hearn or go create your own promotional company at that point with whatever money you get off of that fight. And then say, hey, I want 65-35 in my way for my promotional company. Everything Crawford Promotions for the rematch. That would be the smartest thing for him to do. But now it can't play out in that fashion now. Because I'm going to tell you 100%. If Spence gets that belt from Ugas, Bentley, what's good? What's good with you? What's good with you? If Spence gets that belt from Ugas, it's over for Crawford. He's gonna get fed to the Lions no matter what he does. At this point, it's kind of in his best interest to just drop that WBO belt and go fight a Charlo and beat a Charlo, get a belt at 154, and force Spence to come up to 154. That should be his game plan at this point. F 147 because you ain't gonna win at 147 pounds, especially now after this Ugas fight. They're gonna grind you up like hamburger meat and feed you straight to Errol Spence. I'm telling you, it's not even in his best interest to take this fight at this point. Let me see what y'all saying. I think I didn't expect nobody else to jump in here, man, this late. But let's see what y'all saying. Cap says step aside money, but will Al Heyman do step aside money again? That tournament's still going on. Ugas or Spence fight the winner of Santos first. Okay, so I was wondering what was going on with the tournament. Like, so they're saying that, and that makes it even worse. That makes it even worse. Okay. So so that makes it even worse at that point. Because at what point where does Terence Crawford fit into all this at this point? You got all these other fights going on in the meantime. What is Terence Crawford going to be doing? There's really nobody for him to fight out there with a name other than Keith Thurman, which that fight wouldn't sell very well. Keith Thurman hasn't been in boxing for over 2 years. Nobody really cares about Thurman at this point except for his hardcore fans. And I don't think Thurman can beat him with a 3-year layoff. So there are no more fights at 147, with the exception of Josh Taylor going up to 147 pounds and fighting Terence Crawford. Now will that happen? Because I believe that Josh Taylor's with Bob Arum, Why would Bob Arum want to turn around and give Crawford some more money after he didn't sign with him? So I doubt Josh Taylor would even fight Terence Crawford. I think Bob Arum would be more willing to put Taylor against Spence than Crawford. Because you know how vindictive Bob Arum is against his former fighters. He's very vindictive against his former fighters. So I don't see Crawford getting even a Josh Taylor fight unless he takes, unless he does some weird split with the money in favor of Bob Arum. So, his only option is 154 pounds. He can still hold his title, go fight at 154, try to hold on to his title for a year, and wait for Spence and Ugas and everybody else to work all this stuff out. And it is what it is, though. Let me see. Spence is waiting to fight an old Crawford. But here's the thing: neither one of them is young. I mean, they both getting older, so it's not like Spence is going to have some type of advantage with time. He's going to get older and beat up as well as Crawford. So that don't benefit. That don't benefit Crawford. I mean Spence to drag it out. It benefits him to drag it out financially because he can keep commanding the highest dollar for that fight and never has to fight Terence Crawford. But he can promote that fight forever. Basically what he's doing is free promotion. He's making himself more popular off of Terence Crawford's back without even fighting Terence Crawford. And this is the stupid part about it. This is what I would go as far as calling Crawford kind of silly and stupid for playing this game. You watch how it played out for Pacquiao. You already seen how it played out for Pacquiao. It didn't work. Pacquiao tried to wait Mayweather out. It didn't work. And then when he finally did get the fight, Mayweather had it set up in his favor so much, it was no way Pacquiao was going to win that fight. Mayweather picked the judges. Mayweather picked the venue. Mayweather picked the referee. Mayweather exempted all your medication. Mayweather had IVs. There was nothing in Pacquiao's favor. So for all Spence fans, what makes you think him waiting this stuff out is going to work in his favor? Period. You have Floyd Mayweather, the genius of boxing business, over there coaching Errol Spence. It's not going to work out in Crawford's favor. It's just not. And you can spin it every way you want to. You can spin that record and scratch it and loop it all you want to do. It's not going to work out in his favor. Bako says Mayweather wants to promote Crawford. Okay, I read that. Guillermo De Lafano, what's good with you? De Lafano, Errol Spence's career is maneuvered like Mayweather's. That's why they pulled him from the fight. Exactly. And I listen, I already knew all this stuff. This is why I've been calling this crap a setup from the beginning. This is why I didn't want to cover the Pacquiao Ugas fight. This is why I knew when I just felt it was all garbage by that point. It's all crap at that point. I was completely unmotivated at that point because I already seen the way all this stuff was gonna play out. I'm like, man, it's not even worth me investing my time in this stuff because when you're going up against them, you ain't gonna win. You're not gonna win. It's their game or nobody else's game, and that's the way it played out. It's just the way it played out. So I'm not. Listen, I know it's a lot of Crawford fans who were former Pacquiao fans, and they want me to go for Crawford. But as a Pacquiao fan, I'm trying to tell you, if it didn't work out for Pacquiao, who in my mind is a much better fighter than Floyd Mayweather, but he didn't beat Mayweather. And nothing that he did, nothing that he could have done was going to help him to beat Mayweather. And now you got Terence Crawford basically in the same scenario as Manny Pacquiao was. He's a great fighter, but at the end of the day, that stuff don't really matter when you can pick the venue, when you can pick the ref, when you can pick the judges, when you can start exempting stuff from the medical waivers. I mean, it's not in your favor at that point. So I think there's no way, and this is the reason I'm picking Spence in that fight if it ever does happen. There's no way Crawford's going to win that fight, and I think Crawford knows this, and this is why he keeps pushing for a bigger dollar amount. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to get the most out of that loss I possibly can. Otherwise, like every other fighter, like you just saw George Kambosos do, he wasn't fighting for money. He was fighting to win those titles. Everything that he was doing was to win those titles. Because once you get the titles, you can get all the money you want to get. Obviously, there's a reason Crawford's not going after these titles. He didn't challenge Ugas. He refuses to fight Spence unless he gets more money. Hey, and it just is what it is. I'm a realist when it comes to this. Man, it's night and day to me. To me personally, I'm like, how can other people not see this? But everybody thinks different, and I can't judge people for thinking the way they do. And I can't blame people for being fans of who they're fans of. But at the end of the day, you got to look at history. Look at the history of dealing with Mayweather and PBC, and history repeats itself all the time. Rodolfo says, I'm not sure Crawford is big enough to move to 154, though, and be a great at that weight class. And I've said that myself. I don't see him moving up and having success. But that might be his only option at this point. I see Errol Spence moving up and having success, and this is the reason why Errol Spence is doing what Errol Spence is doing. People wonder why he's not just making the fight. It's because he doesn't have to. He can ride this out as long as he wants to. It's free promotion for him because as long as Crawford never fights him, he can always just say, hey, I'm going to fight him at some point. I'm offering him something. He can sit around and wait. People are going to still anticipate this fight and want to fight. So this is like 4 or 5 years worth of free promotion for Errol Spence. This is genius business. It's genius level business. And at the end of the day, Errol Spence, if he never gets that Terence Crawford fight, he can just walk up to 154 and still have a profound career because his body is built for 154. Genius level business. And this is what I'm trying to get people to understand. Crawford might be able to beat Spence at 147 pounds. But if he never fights him, and he's only trying to do this for the money, but guess what? Spence is never going to fight you at the dollar amount that you want because business is telling him that's a bad business move. Floyd Mayweather's telling him that's a bad business move. Al Heyman's telling him that's a bad business move. Don't do that. Because at the end of the day, you're going to freeze Terence Crawford out of everything, and either he has to move up and weight, or he has to take purse cuts when he goes and fights these other nobodies. Genius level business. Very genius level business, man. That's why I told y'all in the one live. It's business, it's not personal, man. You got to start thinking about this stuff from a business mindset. It's genius level business tactics, man. Spence and them are playing some serious chess with Terence Crawford. And he keeps making the wrong move over and over and over and over again. And I don't care how talented you are. Because if Pacquiao couldn't out chess Mayweather, I don't think nobody can do it. Because I know for a fact Pacquiao's a way better fighter than Mayweather. But Mayweather got Pacquiao at the right time. He got him at the right time. He had everything in his favor. He won the fight. And Crawford's walking down that same path. That's going to end up in that same situation. It is what it is. Cap says Spence 31, age Bud 35. That's still not bad. It's not a bad split. That's not a bad split. I mean, Spence is younger. I definitely give you that. Pacquiao did this until 42. Tom Brady's however old he is. Athletes can go as long as they feel like they can go, and he's never taken a loss. So I don't feel like his age will be a factor in him in him losing it. And now, if this thing drags out to they 40, then I think he can make that excuse. Well, he got me when I was old. If this drags out till 38, 39, I won't say that that's an excuse. I'll say that's a legitimate argument. Right now, 30. I think 38. I would say that's a legitimate argument. Illegal IV. I'm telling you, man. It's bigger. It's bigger than just the what happens in the ring. It's way bigger than what happens. The actual fight in the grand scheme of things is very small compared to all the behind the scenes. The behind the scenes fight is probably more entertaining than the actual fight that goes on in the ring. It got us talking about it. We talking about other people's money we ain't never gonna spend in our life. We got us talking about it. So it's crazy. What's more entertaining is that behind the scenes stuff. Arguing about purse splits. If ain't nobody else got nothing to say, man, y'all drop your comments now. We'll play some music real fast. Let me see. I think I got another comment. No, I didn't get no comments. All right. Got like 6 people in here. I appreciate all 6 likes. If you ain't hit that like button, man, please hit that like button. I definitely need those likes, man. That gives me more algorithmic control, man. And whenever you go to somebody's channel, man, definitely support them by hitting the like button. Gives you more algorithmic control, gets you shared out to more people. And that's the point of being on here, man. Trying to give you guys good content, useful information, and share it to a wide community of people, man. So definitely do that if you ain't, man. I really appreciate. I appreciate them likes even more than I appreciate the super chats too. But to be completely honest with you, YouTube takes half of every super chat I get. I think it might even be more than half of every super chat I get. So if you send me $1 in super chat, I'm only gonna get like 50. Well, I'm not even gonna get that because the government take another portion. So I'm not even getting 50 cents out of that. But every time you hit that like button, I'm getting a 100% boost on the algorithm. So please hit that like button, man. That's even more important than sending those super chats. I need a community. We need a community to grow. And those likes are the first. Those are the first weapon in getting the community to grow. So I'm gonna let y'all jam out to some music. See if anybody drops in the comments. And if not, then I'm out of here.
All that seems to be on my mind is All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. I just wanna touch a onion. She just want a couple hundred. I got mad and changed the subject. Then I got drunk and said fuck it. This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling bitches. Pull up with that Aquafina. Yellow bone, her name is Tina. Tina like the hit casinos. Tina could snort a whole kilo. Tina like to fight and argue. Bye bye Tina, bitch, who are you? Met a dark skin chick named Anna. Anna like that marijuana. Anna was from the Bahamas. At least that's what she said. I assume she's honest. I apologize, Your Honor. I just wanted me some money. You can't tell these niggas frontin'. You can't tell these niggas nothing. 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 All that seems to be on my mind is hustling.
My bad. Every time I switch, because I think I got to update. I think I got to update my OBS. My bad, y'all. My bad. I had to update my OBS because for some reason when I switch back and forth from scenes now, I got to manually change the audio settings. So what I was saying is, I appreciate everybody for coming through. Captain Full G said he's gonna be on here tomorrow. I have a call-in number. If you'd like to call in, the call-in number is 502-519-2556. 502-519-2506. The sound should come back in a second. It'll come back in a second. I forgot to turn it on. My fault. My fault, y'all. But definitely call in. If you don't want to give out your real number, if you don't want me to have your real number, you don't want to give out your real number, then go to Google Voice. You can go to Google Voice, get you a free Google Voice number. It's totally free. They give you a free business number. It's free. You can change it whenever you want to, all that stuff. It's Google Voice. And then if you want to call in tomorrow, the number is 502-519-2556. You can call in. We can chop it up. Cap said he's going to come on, chop it up. If you want to come on, give your 2 cents, talk about any topic you want, boxing related or otherwise. Or if you just want to get a shout out, to my small audience. That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? So definitely be doing that tomorrow, man. I'm going to get more consistent with it. Definitely have Caps on more. If Caps has any guests that he can suggest, definitely would like to have them on. Tell anybody you want to, man. Hand that number out to anybody you want to hand it out to. If they like boxing, definitely tell them to give a call. Come into the show, join the community, man. To grow, we need a community of people. We need y'all to hit the like button, and we need you to share. We need you to engage with the content. And definitely, give more suggestions on what you want to see, how you want to see me grow, how you want to see Caps grow, how you want to see the people that Cap support grow. I'm not here to hate on nobody. Even bro, that Caps messes with BF best fight the best. I don't hate, bro. I don't get involved in the racist stuff he does. And I wish dude nothing but success, man. Even if he wanted to come on to the show, or if I can get on his show, I think I'm gonna start reaching out to more boxing channels the way I used to, and start interacting with more channels as well, because uh you definitely need a group of people to grow, man. You can't grow without having support and a group of people to support you. So appreciate that, man. Yeah, yeah, definitely salute to BFB, bro. I ain't got no problem with bro, no real problem with bro. I just can't get down with the racist talk that he does. And I would actually watch him if he would cut that portion of his program out or leave that for another show. If you want to do a show where he just go hard, and then do a show for people who want to watch him, who don't want to engage with that type of content, I would go actually watch his content at that point. But until then, I just salute him. Do your thing. Ain't no hate, nothing like that, man. Do your thing, definitely. Want to see everybody grow, because when they grow, I grow. We all need each other at the end of the day. So there's no reason to hate on nobody. He might be a fool, and some of the most of the stuff he says is real foolish, man, and it's ignorant, and it spreads a disease. But he, at the same time, commend him for being able to put together a group of like-minded people. He's growing a nice little community. So for that, I can commend him. I can salute him for that. I don't have to. I don't have to entertain what he's doing. I don't have to watch what he's doing. I like what he's doing, but I can't salute him for doing something. He could be out here selling drugs to people and shooting at people. So as long as you're not doing that, I'm gonna salute you. I will salute you at the end of the day. If you're doing that in self-defense, like that's your last resort, I will still salute you. But as long as he's doing something positive, he's growing a community off of positivity. I can't hate him. Do your thing. Just I can't be involved with that. He crazy, man. He crazy, but and this is the crazy thing. He's a reflection of how out of touch people are. People that support that are out of touch with reality in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? So it just but that shows you even crazy people have an audience. So, we just got to find where our audience is at. I know where my audience is at. What's stopping me at this point from my channel growing more is that YouTube wants me to invest in the channel. And I don't really want to invest in the channel the way they want me to invest. I would rather grow organically. The problem with that and YouTube is YouTube's organic reach is almost dead. It's almost a pay-to-play platform now. And I think in the next 5 years, it's going to be a pay-to-play platform. And what I mean by pay-to-play is you're going to have to buy advertisement. Within the next 5 years, they're going to force you to buy advertisement on YouTube to even be on YouTube. And it's coming. It's coming. So everybody needs to prepare for that. So it's coming. A lot of these channels are going to go away because people don't have the budget to buy advertisement, and that's what made YouTube great, is that you didn't have to budget in an advertisement budget. But because of the way the world is going and there's so many streaming platforms popping up, the only way for YouTube to remain sustainable into the future is going to be for them to make their creators start to buy advertisement blocks. So it might not come this year, next year, 2, 3. Believe me, 5 years down the line, 10 years, you're going to have to buy advertisement blocks on YouTube. Whether they take it out of your revenue money or they're actually making you buy these blocks, because they are basically already taking it out of your revenue money. And it's crazy because the portion of the money that YouTube takes, a portion of that is going right back to advertisement. So you're already paying for advertisement, even though it's not directly benefiting your channel. But I think in the future, they're going to get smart and say, okay, well, the only way for these small channels to survive is for them to have advertisement. And the only way for us to make money off of these channels is for us to make them buy advertisement. So it's coming. So get ready for that. It's coming in the future. And that, but at this moment, for me to grow, that's what I have to do. Either I have to buy advertisement or I need more of y'all to support. When y'all come in, y'all can't just come in and watch for 5 or 10 minutes, which I appreciate that. But the way the algorithm works is when you come in, you have to hit that like button. You have to stay for at least 5 to 6 minutes so that 2 or 3 commercials play. So the algorithm sees that you are a benefit to it and not a detriment to it. Because if it feels like you're a detriment, people just coming in, watching for a minute, and then leaving, they're not hitting the like button, they're not engaging, they're not commenting, they're not hitting the share button, and they're saying you're worthless. And they're dropping you further and further and further within the stack of millions and millions of boxing channels. So, and like I said, in the future, they're going to get smart and say, man, all this crap, we don't need all this crap. We can take the main channels that are making us money and do the block revenue aspect, just like regular cable. It's coming. That's the future of the internet. The internet's gonna end up just like cable. When it comes to the content, is you're gonna have to buy advertisement blocks for you to be popular. So I appreciate everybody for coming through. We had a good conversation. It was short, but it was meaningful, and I definitely will be back tomorrow. Remember that number, 502-519-2556. Call in. Definitely support. Hit that like button. Check out Caps. Salute everybody who does boxing content. Is doing something positive, man. It's your boy. We are out of here.
Negative, okay, nothing further. That seems to be on my mind is all that seems to be on my mind is hustling. Negative, okay, nothing further. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. I just wanna touch a onion. She just want a couple hundred. I got mad and changed the subject. Then I got drunk and said fuck it. This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling bitches. Pull up with that Aquafina. Yellow bone, her name is Tina. Tina like the hit casinos. Tina could snort a whole kilo. Tina like to fight and argue. Bye bye Tina, bitch, you are you? Met a dark skin chick named Anna. Anna like that marijuana. Anna was from the Bahamas. At least that's what she said. I assume she's honest. I apologize, Your Honor. I just wanted me some money. You can't tell these niggas frontin'. You can't tell these niggas nothing. 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 All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. All that seems to be on my mind is hustling. This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling bitches. This is for my hustling bitches. Nigga, don't act so suspicious. Hustle hot as hell, but you swear they snitching. You don't wanna go to prison. You don't wanna go to prison. You don't wanna come up missing. You don't wanna come up missing. I just want a couple bitches. Put them in the ring, make a split decision. I'm trying to slow down with the sending. I pray to God, no, you forgive me. Me and God had a discussion. He said, tell him. I said, you can't tell these niggas nothing. 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 All that seems to be on my mind. that seems to be on my mind is us. All that seems to be on my mind is us.
Money, cars, clothes, hoes, blown, drove. In the streets, man, that's all we know. Get money on the late nights till we all get dope. The fans are riding in the daytime so we all get low. Yo, they trying to stop our show, stop us from copping home. Lock us down, ship us out, they really trying to stop our show. Go touch the pole, the baggage can't stop my road. 6 or 8, 7, 11, watch me knock the boat. I lock it low like popping glow. Clean the streets of profit mode. Cop your head and cop your mo. Trust it to the top we go. Homie, spark one from your heat. Carlito J murder, spark one on the beat. We the brand makers, touch these haters, plotting to take us. They can't stop my raiders, we feeling like the Lakers. They can't stop the vapors, we creeping in for the capers. The fans is watching, trying to lock us down with the papers. Here on, I see you later, till my hands is covering paper. I'm out on late nights, grinding, trying to cover a
Still here, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You test can't drink what we did to get these riches.
late night, so drugs, so dice, no slugs, no rights, no rub, no rights, no
Still
love.
here, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You test can't drink what we did to get these riches.
Late night, so drugs, no dice, no slugs, no rights, no rub, no rights, no love.
Street soldier, plenty soda, chop always holding. Lean on with murder, dudes know when we paper folding. Homicide without a motor, some pay him if you want one. We straight from the ghetto, the cutter 911's rolling. Cigarillos, everybody blow is stolen. 85% of the time you kill 'em, you bound to know 'em. So be careful where you show 'em, play your role like Odom. Cause homies be tripping when you're pitching like Nolan. Got that one hit or quit a jigger, freeze 'em like a pitcher. In my project, good and homie, switching my position efficient. Trying to make a million while you dudes tripping. Cutting in the fees, too much soda while you mixing. Make it smooth the fishes, or how you ripping current vicious. I'm grimy and malicious, dudes trying to take my position. On the caddy, new edition, gotta grind with intuition. Keep my secrets the deepest, stack my paper, complete the mission. Yeah, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You test can't drink what we did to get these riches.
Late night, so drugs, so dice, no slugs, no lights, no rub, no rights, no
Still
love.
here, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You test can't drink what we did to get these riches.
Late night, so drugs, no dice, no slugs, no lights, no rub, no rights, no
We
love.
last up and retarded. Please don't get us started on the low. There's a couple cowards, we nearly departed.
What they weak hearted, we out scraping the market. Y'all lane, y'all better park at the top. It's what we target.
Cause these dudes low, so we hit 'em like purple rope. Hooked up with the cousins, spark one, they like, oh no.
We got the fofo, lay low, get dough, sell out, get more, dip in a 6-4.
From a sucker city thugs, hold like money and drugs. Searching for connection, plugs like George Jefferson, moving up, up.
What? We way to cut, you funny, you getting stuck. The money is getting tough, we hungry, so give it up.
Still here, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You test can't drink what we did to get these riches.
Late night, so drugs, so dice, no slugs, no lights, no rub, no rights, no
Still
love.
here, homie, popping collars on you snitches. You test can't drink what we did to get these riches.
Late night, so drugs, no dice, no slugs, no lights, no rub, no rights, no love.
It's your boy Lucas Keys, one wheel on the track. Skinny, what's up?